What is up, everybody? It is U.S. Open week. We are back for another week of the Sports 2.0 Network Golf Preview Show. Justin Onken here with Grant Bale. How's it going, Grant?
It's going well. I'm excited. This is a big show.
Yeah, we'll run through a quick recap of Congaree last week. The field was pretty rough. We made some interesting bets, and they paid off. I hit Doc Redman and Garrick Higgo top 20. Higgo actually won the event. If you'd have told me that last week, I don't know that I'd believe you. It was a disaster by a few guys at the top last week who kind of handed him the win, but win's a win. Top 20s for both those guys. Matt Fitzpatrick tied 10th for me, top 10. So all in all, good week for me. And you hit a couple bets as well.
Yeah, Johnny Vegas, and then the margin bets have been great, 2-0 so far when they offered it. So your placings, my margins, adding another margin, your best bet winning, that's a big deal. So I think we got a little bit better of a week than we thought, especially coming into an event where we had no idea what it was going to look like or how it was going to play out. A little pat on the back for us.
Yeah, good week considering that course is a new one and the field was pretty rough. But well, U.S. Open week, Torrey Pines. It's kind of a nice. I like having the U.S. Open on a course that we are familiar with. Right. Obviously, there are some super famous venues that that we're going to see in the rotation of the U.S. Open that are awesome to see. But as a guy who bets every week, getting to see a course that we bet on every year at a regular tour event just helps that much. So Torrey Pines, it's going to be really, really tough. Obviously, the U.S. Open every year is really, really tough, but it's hard when they have it set up for a regular tour event, and the USGA guys don't screw around when they're setting up for a U.S. Open. The fairways are tough to hit. Statistically, this is one of the toughest courses that guys play every year to hit fairways. It's really, really important that you hit as many as you can, but Justin Ray tweeted some stats this week that basically said that fairway hit percentage really has not factored in a whole lot to the guys who have won. I think it's kind of goes back to what we saw at the US Open last year where, everybody's missing enough fairways that it kind of doesn't matter. You just got to take advantage of the ones you are in the fairway and survive the ones that you're not. Now, the rough is probably going to be a bit longer than what it is, in February when we come here, but the Kikuyu rough is unique. It's thick. It's nasty. Around the greens is going to be just disgustingly impossible. Those guys are going to have a really, really tough time getting the ball up and in. And it's long. It's really, really long. Par 71 over 7,600 yards, and it's going to play every bit of it. The marine layer, everybody likes to talk about it when we go out on the West Coast, but it's legit. I mean, you talk to those – you see those interviews with the guys, and the ball just does not fly as far. Just doesn't. So it's going to play every bit of 7,600. They're going to have a lot of shots over 200 yards, and it's tough. Statistically, this is one of the biggest strokes gained approach courses that they play on tour. The indication would be that strokes gained approach is more important here than any other course besides the Memorial each year. So get your iron players ready, but I think you got to lean towards the long hitters.
Yeah, it's kind of going back to what you said is that guys are going to miss no matter what, right? You're going to be hitting, you're going to be missing. It's going to be helpful to be farther up if you miss. So if you're closer to the hole, it's going to be great. I think you're going to kind of see that as we talk about our picks because there's going to be a lot of big hitters coming up in the next few minutes.
Yeah, Bryson basically proved last year at Wingfoot that if everybody's missing the fairway at least 50% of the time, that distance is going to be more important than accuracy. I would guess the winning score is probably 5-6 under if you're playing good. I don't know. I haven't looked at the weather super close to know whether or not they'll be able to get the greens rolling super, super fast. POA, for whatever reason, they can't get it too fast. It will just be impossible if it's the way it gets bumpy with the shoe marks and stuff. It'll just be way too hard if it gets crazy fast like some U.S. Open. But mean, chipping is hard enough with the way this rough is and the way these greens are tiny. They're hard to hit if you're in the fairway, let alone coming from 190 in 4-inch rough. So I think the guy who wins is going to be a long hitter, but also a guy who plays really, really smart. Takes advantage of when he can make those birdies and plays to the right spots from the rough. You get in the rough 200 yards out. A lot of times you can't get to the green. You just got to lay it up short. Take your medicine, give yourself a good look at par, best you can, and bogey avoidance. I think it's the name of the game. I don't expect anybody to go crazy, crazy low. I'd be shocked if somebody got to 10. I mean,
yeah, it has.
When we
the
look
U.S. Open kind of has the U.S. Open kind of has like a feel to it, right? It's similar each and every year as far as like, narrow fairways, long rough, small greens. You're going to have a similar kind of vibe to the course as far as what the USGA does to it every single year. So if we can kind of use that to our advantage this week and look at guys who have performed in those conditions, I think we have a good chance.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to play a ton different than it will for the Farmers Insurance Open. I mean, obviously the rough's going to be a bit longer, and the USGA is in charge of setting it up, so it'll be a bit tougher. They like to see a certain event. When the U.S. Open shows up, they want to make it hard. They want to see players struggle. So, but those players who've had success here are going to have success. It's the same golf course. It really is. So, we've seen long hitters do really, really well, other than Patrick Reed, who was the reigning champ of the Farmers Insurance Open, but his short game that week was absolutely insane. He was getting up and down from everywhere. He was cheating from the left rough on the last couple holes, but his short game was awesome. And if you look down the leaderboard, it is bomber after bomber after bomber and iron player. That's the way I'm going. I'm going to look at the guys who hit it far, but with a lean towards the best iron players of them. And based on some research that I've done and some guys I saw on Twitter, the group of guys who can actually win this event, I think, is 14 or 15 people. Now, we're talking a field of 100 and 40, I think. I honestly think there's 14 guys who can win this event. If you look back historically, going back to 2011, the only player outside of the top 30 in the official World Golf Rankings that have won a major was Phil at the PGA a few weeks ago, and Phil's a 6-time major champ. I'm not really sure that qualifies. So the first place I'm looking is inside the top 30 of the official World Golf Rankings, and then based on the stats, 13 of the last 13 U.S. Open winners have had a top 10 in their last 5 starts going in, and boom, you narrow that list to inside of 20 right there, and then you can take those guys, look for the long hitters, the good iron players, the guys in good form, and go from there. But I would not go too far down this board this week. I just kind of think that's losing money.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting, like looking at the Farmers Insurance, just kind of the type of players who are on those leaderboards. So it's like you said, Reed was a little bit of an outlier. Leishman was before that, big hitter. Finau, Xander, Rahm, Zalatoris, Decky, Jason Day, Rory, guys like that who can just really get it down there, and pair that with good iron play, which all of those guys pretty much are. Those are all elite players. It's going to be a similar type of player, especially you're going to see on our card this week. And I would put a good amount of money saying that's going to be the same type of player on this leaderboard come Sunday. Yeah,
I'd be just shocked if it was outside the top 25 or 30 in the official World Golf Rankings. It's going to take every bit of everybody's game to compete here. So, all right, into the outrights. Go ahead with your first one. I don't know that I'm perfectly on board with this, but I definitely see where you're going.
Yeah, I got the reigning champ. This is a hard bet for me because I'm with everybody else. I don't love Bryson off the course, but I know he's going to be prepared, right? He's going to do everything he can to put himself in position to win this week. I have Bryson at 14-1. He's a great putter. He's an elite putter, really. He's an amazing putter and compared to other guys on tour. That's a sneaky part of his game. Obviously the driving is what kind of drives the views, and everybody loves him and all that stuff for that. But he makes putts. That's how he wins. He hits big drives every time he plays. It's more about when he makes putts. And if Poa is his best surface, which is what we're going to have this weekend, he's an elite putter. I did a model, and I kind of started to filter for long, rough players. Bryson was right up there at the top, right? And it goes right along with his power. If you got power in other places, you're going to have power through the rough. So if you can power those balls through that grass, through that stuff that's going to really dig that ball down, I think he's going to have a good shot. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to hope for a Bryson Brooks Sunday, and try to have the best of what kind of golf the whole golf world would love to see, right? The ratings will be unbelievable.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I'm going to go with Bryson at 14-1. It's really just it's hard to go against it because he's going to hit it really far. He's actually gained an approach his last 2 times out. He's not the best iron player, but if he has a little bit of momentum, he's going to have confidence because he won it the previous year. If he's up there farther than everybody, I think he's going to have a good chance to just give himself birdie opportunities. Mix that with the putting I talked about earlier, and I'm going to have him right there on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, if it plays anything like it did last year, obviously he should be in the hunt. Right. My first outright is a guy I think is just being a bit overlooked this week. Rory McIlroy, 20-1. If you look at the leaderboard, there's like a certain set of elite guys that are kind of priced all the same every week. And Rory just got priced at the bottom of them this week, 20-1. Most of the guys are Rahm is 10, and he's got this many majors to his name. Rory's got 4. I know he's playing good, but Rory just got a win a couple weeks ago. He should be pretty confident off of that. It's been a while for him getting a win. And he clearly likes this course. He's played it 3 times. He has a 2nd, 4th, and a 16th. So it makes sense for him to play well here. He hits it really far. When he's playing well, his irons are as good as almost anybody. Yep. His putter can come and go, but it's been pretty good this year. His irons have actually been the thing that's kind of held him back earlier in the year, but he's gained strokes on approach, and he's gained at least 4 strokes on approach in his last 3 starts. It's really, really good. His driver was a bit off at the PGA, but he should be primed and ready for this event. Plus, I kind of don't care if he hits it a little bit off the fairway. Everybody's going to be missing fairways. So, to me, if you're going to give me one of the better guys who just got a win at the bottom of that top tier and a guy who has some success here, I'll take it 20-1 for Rory on a course that fits him perfectly is right where I'm headed.
Yeah. Additional thing is when courses get hard, Rory tends to stand out a little bit, right? He's always kind of that player is that when things get really difficult, his skills always kind of push through. And so, like we said earlier, you said what 5 is going to be roughly the number we think.
I would guess. Yeah.
If it's in that range, you're always going to want to have Rory with you because he's always been a guy that he can scram. He just got that all around. I mean, he's a historically great golfer, right? He's going to find ways to score. He's going to find ways to make pars and avoid those bogeys like we talked about earlier.
He's got to get off to a good start. His first round scoring average in the majors the last few years has been really, really bad, but he's played great otherwise. I just want to see him get off to a nondescript start. Just come out, shoot even par, be in the hunt. Don't shoot yourself out of it on Thursday. And I think it's a great bet.
Yeah. I like it. I'm going to be right there with you. I would have had it if you didn't, but I like both. I mean, Rory with Bryson, those are the 2 probably off the tee guys in the last 5 to 6 years probably.
Rory's statistically like the best driver of the ball ever. I mean, Bryson is catching him in a hurry. So, I've got a second guy that I think is the most mispriced player in the field. When I went through all the numbers, I got it down to 14 guys, and he was one of them. And I looked, and boom, 50-1. Daniel Berger. I know he doesn't have the major championship winning experience that some of the other guys do, but he's ranked like 20th in the world. He's played some really, really good golf this year. He won at Pebble on POA earlier this year. He's kind of flying under the radar. He's got 3 top 20s in his last 4, so he's clearly in good enough form. He finished 3rd a few weeks ago. He's a really, really good POA putter. He's proven he can win. He's won a few times on tour, and he hits it far enough. He's just one of those guys that gets it out there. And 50-1 for a guy who makes my short list of 14 or 15 guys, it's kind of a no-brainer for me when you look at the odds board.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to say this. I'm going to try to be as realistic as possible. Daniel Berger and Xander Schauffele aren't as different as their numbers tell you they are, right?
Nope.
And everybody loves Xander, and I love Xander too, and he's going to finish
Same.
high and do all this stuff. But him being this much farther down than other players like Xander and Tony and those type of guys like Finau, it's a price where we have to grab it because he's up there. He's got the skill to do it.
Daniel Berger's got 2 wins in the last 12 months, and Tony Finau and Xander have 0 wins in the last 24 months. So
right.
50-1 just doesn't make a ton of sense. So I'm willing to take the shot. I know his odds. I mean, he's probably not as likely to win as some of those other guys, but 50-1.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to go Tyrrell Hatton at 33. Another little bit of a longer shot. It's not long as in a normal tournament, but at a major, 33 is pretty far down the board, especially at a U.S. Open where it's so long. Tyrrell Hatton is an elite approach player, an elite iron player, just kind of the guy that we want. He's going to gain off the tee just enough to kind of hold himself with those other guys. If we watched here last week, is he put 2 approach shots literally in the hole to beat me in my matchup last week. Which sucked. But his POA is his best surface. He's good at the Masters. He got second last week. He's right there. He's got that recent major pedigree, that kind of stuff. And he's never played in the Farmers, so he's never played at this course. I don't know if he's actually ever played here, right? But at a competitive PGA event, he's never played here at the course. So I like him to kind of come in, have that kind of beginner luck for us. And at 33-1, he's another guy who I think is just a little bit farther down talent wise. I think he's up there with some of those guys who are
definitely
lower in odds. So I'm going to go with Tyrrell Hatton at 33 paired with Bryson. Yeah,
he's kind of one of those guys that is priced in a range that you're willing to go and don't have to pay up too much. The experience thing is a little bit iffy, but I mean, most U.S. Open courses guys haven't played, so you never know with him. But all right, I've got a top 10 that I absolutely love. Brooks Koepka plus, what is the number? Plus 175 to top 10. I saw a stat today. Brooks Koepka is 59 shots better to par than every other person on planet Earth over the last in the majors since 2016. 59 shots. He's got 13 top 10s in his career on majors in about 22 tries, I think I counted. So he just shows up for majors. I mean, especially right now with his bulky knee. We talked about this pre-show. There was a not great video out there of his walking up steps today, but who knows with him? He just finished second at the PGA. He probably should have won that event. I mean, it was Phil. He just did not. Brooks just did not play good on Sunday. But Brooks in a major, you just ride him. Just ride him. He's won 4 of the last 16 majors. He has a bunch of top 10s. This course sets up perfect for him. He can just bomb it out there, get it out of the rough, let his grinding nature just take over. Go look at all the events where the score is around even par, and he is right there. So plus 175 for Mr. Major Brooks Koepka. I like it.
Yeah, he's going to show up. It's just at this point he's just a major guy. The pressure doesn't get to him. He kind of, if anything, he kind of thrives in these types of environments. So
definitely,
if we can have him at plus 175 at a top 10, that's perfect because he might be in condition. You're gonna be like, oh, that's fine. I have 10 places on him, so that's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I got Tony at plus 188. Tony Finau hasn't been outside the top 25 in the Farmers since 2014. Okay, so that's 6-7 years ago. And the Farmers is at this course, and I love Tony this week. Another big hitter, like we said. He's going to rip it through the rough. He got top 10 at the PGA, at the recent major. His short game has been sneaky good. when you compare it recently in the last few months with other guys who you wouldn't think are good, him compared to them, short game, but it's been pretty sneaky good, which is going to be fine to scramble and try to at least make par this week. And if he can get his approach going, which he usually always does, especially those long proximity shots around 200 yards, I think he'll be fine. And I love him competing at a top 10.
Yeah, he sets up perfect for this course. Do not bet him to win. Do not. But top 10 Tony is in full effect. I totally expect him to either be leading on Saturday and fall back into 6th or be in 20th and jump up to 6th, because that's what he does every event. But, man, he just – and in the majors recently, he's been really, really good. He's gotten a lot of high finishes in majors. So that makes total sense.
Yeah, and I like him that even if he's not in the top 10 comes the start of Sunday, we still have a chance, like you said, because he's going to kind of play into that with no pressure. He's a big no-pressure guy, as we found out. So when we have that opportunity, I still like the top 10. He's an elite player that just doesn't win, so I like top 10.
Yeah. Well, top 20 odds this week were – some were good, some were not. But who do you like?
I like Paul Casey, another really good long rough player. His approach has been on fire, like huge numbers in approach here recently.
Yeah.
Paul Casey is consistently been good in majors. His last top 26 in his last 4 U.S. Opens, and he got top 5 at the PGA. Like I said, he's been good here recently. His approach has been on fire. He's going to hit the greens. He's going to scramble. He's going to have those long proximity irons like we've talked about. I think this is a pretty safe bet. Paul Casey's going to work his way around this golf course. He's got the experience, and he's just, I love his scrambling ability. That's one big thing about him this week, is we pair that with scrambling. When things get tough, just avoid those bogeys. Give yourself a couple, a few birdie opportunities, make a couple, and then move on with pars. I love Paul Casey this week.
Yeah, his ability to get in the fairway is huge too. He's a really, really good driver of the ball. He's not losing too much on distance, but he gets it in the fairway and he can really, really hit his irons. But I like the West Coast guy, Max Homa, plus 275. His major track record is a bit weak, but if you read my articles earlier this year, I rode him all over the West Coast. He played so good. And that's the second year in a row. He got a win at the Genesis, which is a big-time event with a really good field. He's proven that he can win. He's got a couple wins on tour now. At plus 275 for a top 20 at a course where he's top 20 each of the last 2 years. I like it. He's coming off a 6th-place finish from Memorial. He's top 15 in strokes gained approach over his last 36. And POA's his best putting surface. He's a California guy. He should know. He should know those POA greens pretty good, and he's proven it the last 2 years. He's every time on that West Coast swing in February, he has just gone on a heck of a run. I rode him to a bunch of top 20s last year and this year, and I'm going back to the well, top 20 plus 275, Max Homa.
Yeah, I like it. If you play golf and travel around, you'll know that playing in your area of where you live is important because the grass and the types of courses and stuff. Playing here in California is going to be great for Max Homa this week. I love his chances. That number is great at 275.
Yeah.
That POA, like you said, is perfect. Just ties in with all we're saying about playing in California, understanding how to play in this region. It's a great time for him to get a really good finish in a major. Yeah. And 275 is amazing. So I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Matchups this week. I'm going against your guy Bryson with Brooks. Brooks is plus 105 over Bryson. For me, it's a number thing. Like I talked about, Brooks has just been an awesome major player. You can pretty much write him down for a top 10 every time he tees it up in a major, particularly the U.S. Opens. His last 3 U.S. Open finishes are second, first. That's the last 3 U.S. Opens he's played in, and he has the top 5 other than that. So plus money on a guy who I know is going to be in it versus Bryson. The only thing that worries me about Bryson this week is the iron play. he's just not, to me, he's just not a good iron player. He gains randomly week to week, but it's pretty inconsistent. And if he really, really sprays it, there are trees and hazards out there, but
Right.
I would not be surprised to see these guys both up there and maybe sweating this like crazy on Sunday. But the plus money for me is what did it for me. Plus 105 for Brooks against anybody in a major is good.
Yeah, I think that as people who bet golf every single week, we've maybe benefited a little bit from the Brooks Bryson, feud, because now the books are trying to take money on this because everybody wants to bet them. And now that we can get Brooks at plus money, it's great. I know I said Bryson to win. That's strictly based on his upside, because I think his upside here is just so high compared to other players.
Yeah, his upside is definitely win. It's definitely win.
Right. But plus 105, it's hard. It's really, really hard to pass that up on Brooks Koepka, who just consistently finishes in the top 5 in like every single major he plays. So
Yep.
I'm going to go a little bit down the board compared to yours, like almost the complete opposite. I'm going to go on Matt Wallace over Ian Poulter. Matt Wallace is a big, big hitter, and that's kind of the theme we've had here in the last few picks. And Ian Poulter has been good recently, but his long irons have not stood out. And I like that for this bet, because if he's going to kind of try to ride out whatever he's playing right now, if the long irons aren't there, he's not going to be, he's not going to be able to contend like he thinks he is. And so I like that. His POA is his worst surface. He hasn't played the Farmer since 2015, so I don't really know what his experience is here on this course.
Yeah.
I don't think his driver is going to hold up. Matt Wallace, like I said, he's not only a good driver, he's a good approach player also. Yeah. He's a long approaches are going to be his kind of way to push him above Ian Poulter. I like the number at 110. It's basically even, just with a little bit of juice. And when I filtered my model this week for long courses, Wallace just went boom, way up the rankings. So I love this for him. He's going to be farther up than everybody. Ian Poulter isn't. I don't think he can scare us this week.
Yep, I don't hate that at all. I mean, I'm going to lean towards long hitters almost every time this week. Poulter's short game is obviously really good, but he's not even really that accurate of a driver for one of the shorter hitters. Right. So I like that quite a bit. I struggled to find a qualifier for my bad golfer of the week bet this week. The field is so good; it's kind of hard to find somebody who's not very good. This should maybe be called unknown golfer of the week this week, but I'm going with Wilco Nienaber. He is a South African. I had good luck with a South African last week on Higo, finishing in the top 20. Wilco Nienaber is a bomber. He hits it a mile, and that's pretty much what I'm relying on, is that he hits it super far. He's a young guy. He just hits it really far. He had a good finish last week, top 15 at Congaree. He just won a few weeks ago on the European Tour. I think the upside is there. Obviously, nerves in one of his first majors obviously is a factor, but he is plus 500 to finish in the top 30. So if he can kind of get through the nerves of the first couple of rounds, make the cut and his long hitting should give him an advantage over most of these other guys.
Yeah, he's going to be fun to watch too. If you have like PGA Live, or
he hits it really, really far.
Right. So he probably won't be on your NBC coverage or your main coverage on Saturday, Sunday. But if you have PGA Live, or if you have a chance to watch some of these other groups, you're going to watch Wilco and be like, holy moly, that dude hits it a mile. So if he's going to be way up there, I love it too. Just give him a chance to play well. That's all he has to do is play well, stay in the fairway, get some balls to stick on the green, give himself some 2 putts for pars. I love this bet at 500 because he doesn't even have to do that much. He just has to play pretty solid. His
average driving distance on the European Tour this year is 323 yards. So he's not gonna take it easy. He's gonna let loose, I hope. So his average driving distance, according to the European Tour last year, was 340 yards. So he's got every bit of 330, 340 in the bag. I hope he just lets it eat this week and takes advantage of it.
I love it. I love that number. And as everybody knows, I love winning margins. I bet the same ones. This will be my third time now here on the show. 1 stroke, 2 stroke. 1 stroke is juiced a little bit down this week to 225, but it's still in the green. I think playoff is 4-1. So if you want to bet the margins and you aren't comfortable with taking 225, then take a playoff and take 2 stroke winner instead of 1 stroke. I'm going to stick with 1 stroke because that's just what happens a lot on the tour, and it's still in the green if you take both bets and do equal bets. It's still it's plus 125 technically if you take both bets at the same unit. Yep. It keeps hitting for us. We're going to keep riding it out. If you're a little bit, if you're a little bit riskier than I am, and you want to kind of take on a 4, take the playoff winner. That's another margin you can take, but I love it. Let's keep riding out these margin winners.
Yeah. Bet those every week. Just do it. They're like my next bet, which is my best bet this week. It's my best bet every week. If you have read my article every single week, you can just about copy and paste this section every week. Will Zalatoris, top 20. I just won't quit him. He just does it every week. He's made me a ton of money on top 20 bets. Plus 163 this week. It's not amazing, but I like it. It's over plus 150, which is good. He's just one of the best iron players on our tour, and he hits it far. He has the perfect skill set for here. His short game maybe could be a bit better considering the rough, but he's going to more than make up for it with his iron play. Plus, he has shown up in big events. Since his debut at the U.S. Open last year, he finished 6th, 8th, and 2nd in the majors. So he's got no problem showing up in the majors. And, I mean, I'm just going to keep riding the guys who hit it far. But of all the guys who hit it really far, he might be the best iron player of all of them week to week. So top 20 plus 163. Plus, he finished 2nd here earlier this year to Rahm, tied for 2nd with a couple other guys. So he should be good to go.
Yeah, I'm going to double down with you. And this is funny because we had our bets like with individually before we saw each other. And I had a matchup, Zalatoris over Abe Answer. This is not a fade Abe Answer bet. Please understand that because I love
we're Abe Answer fans on this show.
I love Abe Answer, but Zalatoris at 110 versus him is just I have to take it. Like you said, and I have all the finishes here. It's crazy. Like every major, he's way up there that he's played in. He got top 10 at the Farmers event, right? So the event that's played at this course, he got top 10 in when he played it during this year. His POA is his best surface. His putting is a little shaky, but if POA is his best, then it's going to give him a good chance to perform this week. It doesn't seem like the nerves get to him, which is great for these events because he's already a high-profile guy, and he knows that, so he's going to be fine. His approach and off the tee is right there with the stud guys. I love taking advantage of these numbers before Zalatoris starts getting priced with those high guys, right? So we're going to keep riding it out.
As soon as he wins, he's getting priced at 25.
100%. So let's just keep riding in these Zalatoris numbers. If Zalatoris finishes 6th and Abe Answer finishes 7th, I won't be that surprised, and I'll cash this bet, and I'll be very happy.
Yeah. Zalatoris is, to me, it is JT, Morikawa, and Zalatoris is the 3rd best iron player on tour on a consistent basis. Obviously, he has his ups and downs, but when his irons are on, he is just absolute money. His putter is usually the thing that holds him back, but POA's been his best surface, so maybe he putts to even this week. If he gains 0 strokes putting and just putts baseline, you can walk this bet straight to the bank. So that's it for this week.
I got one more.
I said earlier, though, if you're going to bet outrights, go up top. It's not your 60, 70, 80 guys are not winning.
I got one more sneak. I want to sneak this in right at the end. And the book that I looked at earlier, which I couldn't bet it, is Phil Mickelson to miss the cut. Phil Mickelson to miss the cut. And the book that I looked at earlier here in Illinois was plus 100. I don't think that's quite good enough. If you can get 130 to 150 range, or even a little bit higher, bet Phil Mickelson to miss the cut here at Torrey Pines. He's going to spray it.
He does not care. He just won the PGA. he does not give a crap about what he does
No.
this week.
I understand his upside, and we've seen it, but we've also seen how he consistently plays here in the last few years. Go look at his track record; it's not that good. I love that bet. It's like what It's top 50 or top 60 in ties this
Top 60
week, right?
in ties, yeah.
Yeah, top 60 in ties. Phil Mickelson to miss the cut. If you can get it around 150, I'd be there with you.
Yeah, that's a good one. He has nothing to play. I mean, obviously, in theory, he has the career grandstand to play for, but I think he's moved on from that. He just won the PGA. He does not give a care about this week. He is in an all gravy zone. So, yeah, I like that quite a bit. Well, good luck, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, and let's all hope for a Brooks Bryson showdown on Sunday with a bajillion people watching on CBS. See you next week.
See ya.